Hello, everyone that's tuning in or gonna tune in the future. Welcome to Haunted Man Cave Podcast. This is episode 8. I'm excited. I'm pumped. This is the first time I'm actually doing the live audio. It's not a live video, but live audio. Um, just wanted to try it out. Just want to see what it's about. I saw the feature on Facebook, and I was like, hey, why not give it a shot? I'm kind of swaying away from the like the live video, because I know not everyone wants to look at my face for 20-30 minutes. So I was like, hey, why not doing that live audio so someone can plug it in their car, maybe listen to it while they're driving, maybe when they're at home taking a shower, they can listen to what I think about certain subjects, certain games that I feel like. In particular, this week it's going to be about the playoff games once again. I can't ignore it. It is the NFL, and you just can't ignore the playoffs. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm pretty knowledgeable about sports, so why not just do it, So, I'm just excited. I'm excited about this opportunity. So this is episode 8. Remember, I'm also doing interviews. If you have a business or you want to get a fundraiser or anything, just anything you want out there, you want exposure, let me know. You can always feel free to, contact me, text me, call me, whatever. My number, I could give it out to anyone. It doesn't matter. Just let me know. So, I'm going to start off this video with today's first game, actually. I know it's a little late. It's kind of, the kickoff's about 3 hours away. But it is the Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. The weather looks pretty bad out there. Last time I saw, there was snow everywhere. But the Kansas City Chiefs fans are out there. I saw traffic. People have been there for hours, waiting in line, trying to get into the stadium, trying to get into the parking lots. The weather looks pretty bad, but a true fan will find a way to get in there. As I went last week, I talked about last week in the playoff games, I went 2 for 2. And then if you count the national championship, I went 3 wins, 2 losses on my predictions. I think it's pretty good. Pretty good predictions. You never know what's going to happen in the NFL playoffs. And that's why I look at this game, the Colts and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are actually a 5.5 point favorite. I see this as a really good opportunity to see what Patrick Mahomes is made of, He's been basically a godsend child to the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's time for him to show. It's time for him to be under the spotlight. It's going to be his first big game. As I mentioned before, I went to Texas Tech versus the Texas game about a month and a half ago, and Texas Tech is just in love with this kid. It's not hard to see why so many people love him. He's a sharpshooter. He will throw the ball down the field. It doesn't matter. The kid can do it all. And so it's going to be our first opportunity to see him under the lights, in the spotlight, national spotlight. Kansas City Chiefs are a 5.5 point favorite. Most of it is because they are at home. Kansas City is unstoppable at home. Everyone knows the home field advantage. Everyone knows about the Kansas City Chiefs fans. They come out and they show out and they get loud. One of the biggest concerns about Kansas City is they struggle big time on defense. They're always in shootouts, and they always have to find ways to basically shoot out with any team. We saw them play against the Patriots. That was a shootout. If they play a team that has a little bit of defense that could stop them, 2, 3, 4 times a game, that's all the other team needs to win. Because especially playing against the Colts, it's Andrew Luck. I always root for Andrew Luck. He's a quarterback that came out hot, but he has battled injuries. And, he kind of, in my eyes, he kind of seems like an underdog kind of quarterback just because people came out talking about him. Stanford grad, he played in the pro style offense. And I see him as an underdog. Just the fact that he's just been playing injured. He at one point he didn't even know he was going to actually play another game in the NFL. And last week he played really good. They defeated the Texans 21-7. But even though the Colts are an offensive team, it's hard to ignore how good their defense has actually been playing. I mean, last week they played Houston Texans, who are hot. Injured, but hot. And they completely shut them out, 21-7. They made Deshaun Watson look like an average quarterback, And Houston did lose two really good wide receivers. They lost Fuller, and they lost Demaryius Thomas, who they traded for in the Denver Broncos trade. And that hurt them a little bit, the Texans. I did pick them to win last week. But they weren't able to compete. Andrew Luck, they came off hot last week. But in the end, their defense really played good. We saw the Colts get into some shootouts early in the season, but it looks like their defense has actually come together. They have gelled pretty good. And so it's going to be a good game. I can't wait. I can't wait to see this game. When it comes to a point spread, 5.5, bad weather. Kansas City is at home. You have no defense. I personally am going to put some money on the Indianapolis Colts. I think they cover the 5.5 point spread. I think their defense stops Patrick Mahomes in his first playoff game. Not completely stop them. They will score some touchdowns, but I see the Colts covering the 5.5 point spread, and I would not be surprised if they outright win this game. The weather is bad enough to where you don't know how each team is going to react. When it comes to the running game, I think the Colts have the better running game. It's hard to ignore that Kansas City did lose Kareem Hunt for the season, or actually for his career, for what he did. And it's hard to ignore those things. And I do think that the Colts, with their running game, and if it continues to snow and it continues to be cold weather, I think running games always will outlast a passing game in bad weather, So that's what I feel in the first game. Tonight's game, it's going to be another good one. It's going to be Dallas Cowboys, Los Angeles Rams. I have personal friends that are Dallas Cowboy fans and a lot of friends that are Rams fans. So I don't have a dog in this fight. I really don't care. I want to see a good game. I personally think the spread at 7 is way too much for the LA Rams. I don't think they win by more than one possession. They can win this game, but Jared Goff has kind of struggled the past couple of weeks. Kind of a reminder what happened last year. Last year they were hot. The offense was rolling. I felt at the end they started sputtering a little bit. They did lose to Atlanta 26-13 and completely was out of sync last year in the playoffs. Dallas Cowboys has a damn good defense. And I think if they put, 8, 9 in the box, stop Gurley early on, it's going to force Jared Goff to find ways to go downfield. And I don't know. I personally think, and I've told many of my Rams fans this, that I personally think Jared Goff is a little bit overrated. He hasn't struck me yet to hit him in tier 1 of the quarterbacks. You know, he does have a lot of playmakers. He has a lot of speed guys that could get open. But he hasn't convinced me fully that he's an elite quarterback. Speaking about that, on the other side, same thing goes with Dak Prescott. You know, I don't see him. He's definitely not in the top elite tier quarterbacks. Not even close. I don't even know if he's tier 2. He's average. He does average things. You know, every once in a while he'll show out and do what he used to do in Mississippi State, which is run the ball when needed. But he just needs to be a game manager. Let Zeke Elliott come out, get the ball, run 4 or 5 yards, first down. You know, get a couple dinks. He has wide receivers. Amari Cooper has surprisingly really played really good. I didn't think he was going to be this good. He has really showed basically everyone that he was good for the trade. You know, for a first round pick, that's a high kind of draft pick to get a wide receiver who was good but really wasn't showing the elite level. But now he's actually looking pretty damn good. He looks like a good pickup. He might have saved the season single-handedly. He takes pressures off the average wide receiver core that the Cowboys do have, you know. But going back to the spread, you know, I personally think Los Angeles, 7 points is too much. I'm going to go underdogs again. I'm going to go at the +7 Dallas. I am going to put some money on it. You know, I'm not going to tell you to put money on it and me not put money on it. But I think Dallas covers. Do they win the game? I don't think so. I think, you know, goes down to the wire. 3-point field goal kick at the end. Dallas has been playing pretty good, but I think LA Rams still take it. Personally, I'm going for Dallas just because, you know, my parents, Dallas Cowboy fans, so why not? You know, I don't have a dog in the fight, so why not see them happy? But I think LA takes it. They move on to the next round. Actually, in the Kansas City and Indianapolis game, I didn't specifically say who I thought was going to win. I know the Colts. I said +5.5. But just to make it fun, I'm also going to predict Colts to beat Kansas City Chiefs this weekend as well. So I'm going to move on to tomorrow's games. There's going to be some good ones. You know, this whole weekend is filled with good teams. Tomorrow, the early game is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers and the New England Patriots. And you know how that goes. You know it's all about the Patriots. You know it's about how their dynasty is and how they always win, how they always make it to the Super Bowl. But it's noticeably to see that Tom Brady and New England done a little bit of a decline, you know. I don't. This game is hard to pick. Just the fact that it's in New England and the weather is going to be on New England's side. You know, Los Angeles Chargers, they're coming from the West Coast, and that's tough right there. You're basically going across the whole United States. And it does affect you. You know, it does affect your body. It affects everything about it. You get jet lag, and you know it's really tough to ask a team coming from the West Coast to go all the way to the East Coast for a playoff game and play against Tom Brady, Gronk. You know, these are legends in New England. These are guys that have been through it all, won Super Bowls, lost Super Bowls. There's nothing you can't say they haven't gone through. They've been through it all. You know, they've even been teammates with a murderer. You know, they've been through it all. They've seen it all, been through it all. It is the Chargers, and honestly, the Chargers are my Super Bowl pick. But I know that the road that they have to go through is going to be tough. I figured that they were going to beat the Ravens last week. You know, Lamar Jackson, rookie quarterback, going against the great Phillip Rivers, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in history. And there's no way I was going to pick Lamar Jackson to beat the Chargers. But the Chargers, I see them coming out. You know, New England is favored 4, which is decent. You know, they are at home. You get 3 points at home. It is -4. My philosophy is, if you think the teams are pretty much even and you get a -3 or a -4, I say you always go underdog. Because a lot of games come down to the wire. A lot of games come down to field goal kicks. And if they're basically the same team, always go for the underdog. Get the plus points. So I go Los Angeles Chargers +4. You know, they beat the Ravens 23-17. The score was a lot closer than the actual game. You know, the last 7 games against the spread, the Chargers have gone 5-2. But the last 8 games at home, New England has gone 6-2. You know, and we all know Patriots, they are who they are, but I do see a decline. I see the decline, and it's coming fast. You know, Tom Brady and them started off kind of gimpy, but then they picked it back up. But you could see the decline, man. Gronk, golly, man, he looks like an old man now. I think he's physically injured. You know, there's rumors that this might be his last season. And I wouldn't be surprised. The thing that sticks out in my head from Rob Gronkowski of this season is not any of the passes he's caught, nothing. It's when they decided to put him as the last man back against the Miami Dolphins, and you see him struggling to run, all he needed to do was push the guy out of bounds. But the Miami Dolphin guy, everyone knows what game I'm talking about, where they took it back at the last second for a touchdown. And the only thing, when I think of Gronk, is him trying to chase down that guy and lose the game. Why was Gronk out there? No one knows. What was going through Bill Belichick's head? No one knows. But that's the thing. I see a beat-up man. I just see a decline. You know, Tom Brady's getting up there. You know, when he was playing really good last year, it was easy to see him play another 4 or 5 years. Seeing him play this year, you know, I had him as my fantasy quarterback. He really struggled. You know, and my fantasy team showed that too. You know, and I don't like to bring fantasy up in here. But, you know, because I am a little biased, Tom Brady has been my quarterback like the past 3 years. Always done well for me. But there's just times I wish I didn't have him. I wish I just benched him, you know. He's still human, and he is aging. So there's, you know, I see the decline, and I see it starting tomorrow. So Chargers win the game outright, you know, +4. It looks like I'm going all underdogs when it comes to a point spread. So I'm going +4. You know, I'm going to see how it goes. You know, New England is at home. That's a scary thing. I don't know how the weather's going to impact. But it's Phillip Rivers, man. He's experienced. He's been through it all. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks. He's my Super Bowl pick from the AFC. I think they make it to the Super Bowl if they pass this test. If they beat the Patriots, I think they're in, honestly. I think they beat Kansas City or the Colts, whoever they play. Whew. There's a lot of things going through my mind, man. It's, you know, I like doing this live audio. You know, sometimes I'm thinking faster than I'm speaking, and sometimes I'm speaking faster than I'm thinking. But let's go to the last game. You know, I'm gonna wrap up my podcast in a bit. So the last game, Philadelphia, New Orleans. This one is gonna be fun, I think. But the Philadelphia Eagle fans, please sit down, because you're not going to get past New Orleans. You're not. Like, there's no way. You guys are riding on that magic, on the Nick Foles magic. I don't want to hear it no more. After this week, I'm done with it. Now, what you do from the future, that's up to you. If you want Carson Wentz, go ahead. Take Carson Wentz. You want Nick Foles, go ahead. You know, personally, Wentz is the better quarterback. I just think he's just better. He has more potential. He has more upside. Nick Foles, we know what he has. We know what he does. He has a Super Bowl ring, but he's not your franchise quarterback. So I don't want to hear it anymore. Fans, Eagle fans, I don't want to hear you talking about Nick Foles and how he should be the starting quarterback next year. It doesn't matter. I don't want to hear it no more. Wentz is your quarterback. You're stupid if you think Foles is going to lead you to another Super Bowl. And, you know, last year, it's all about momentum. A lot of teams win from momentum. You know, a lot of teams get hot. We've seen it many years in the NFL playoffs. The best team the best team hardly wins the Super Bowl. It's all about momentum. Who makes the least mistakes at the moment? And, you know, looking at New Orleans, they've been the best team, in my opinion, this whole NFL season. We're trying to look at each team of what they've done lately, but we also fail to look at teams what they've done throughout the whole season. And I think New Orleans Saints have been the best team all season consistently. You got Drew Brees, they got weapons, they got running backs, wide receivers. It's ridiculous. Their talent level is ridiculous. And they have a decent defense. You know, Philadelphia, they're good. They got some weapons. They got a decent running back, decent wide receivers. Their defense has actually showed up past couple of weeks, you know. They got lucky. Bears should have let the Vikings lose. I mean, actually, the Bears should have let the Vikings win, so the Bears could have played the Vikings wild card weekend and stumped the Vikings so they could move on to the next round. Bears failed to do so. They beat Vikings, letting the Eagles in, letting the Eagles beat them, so the Bears completely screwed up their own destiny, basically. But, yeah, I'm looking at the New Orleans, 8. The spread is 8, you know. And I'm telling you, it's 8 for a reason. I feel that Vegas at -8, with the fans being fans, thinking that Philadelphia's hot, that they'll cover, and that Philly will cover the +8. And I think Vegas is just trying to fool you. You know, they put it this high for a reason. It's the highest spread of all games. And I think New Orleans Saints cover it. I think they beat them by two possessions. They cover the 8-point spread. And I really think Vegas is going to fool everyone. All the fans that, you know, that want to go to Vegas or on Bovada, they're going to look at the +8 and think to themselves, nah, this is way too much. This is way too much for a playoff game. But you know what? The Eagles are not that good. They're hot, but they're not that good. They have consistently throughout the season been up and down. And New Orleans comes out with a win. They win by 10 or more. Easy. It's not going to be a game. This is probably my least favorite one I want to watch, but I know there's going to be some high scoring. And it's mostly going to be because New Orleans is going to come out. They're going to be up a couple possessions up, you know, 10 points, 14 points early. And Eagles are just going to have to start throwing the ball at the end of the game, trying to catch up. And, you know, they'll score some points, but I see them scoring a lot of garbage points. Philly, you know, they are 4-1-1 against the spread the last 6 games. But when you look at the whole season, New Orleans is 10-4 the last 14 games against the spread. So I think New Orleans covers easy. I see them winning the game fairly easy. And I see Drew Brees threatening next week to go to the Super Bowl. Man, It's going to be a good weekend, though. The kickoff's in about 2 hours now. I said 3 hours earlier, but I just saw the time. I'm excited. There's a lot. Each game is going to provide their own thing. You got the coach with Andrew Luck, his comeback, his battle back, his shoulder injury. Didn't think he was going to play. You got Kansas City, Mahomes, first playoff game. What's he going to do? Is he going to keep that mantra that everyone's talking about? When I was at Texas Tech and the Texas game, man, that Lubbock City is all about Patrick Mahomes, man. He has completely changed the whole city. I was in a restaurant that had pictures of Mahomes everywhere. It was funny, but cool, You got Dallas with Dak Prescott. What's he going to do? Is he going to play? Is he going to show Dallas why he should be the starting quarterback? What's Zeke going to do? Ezekiel Elliott is really, really good. He's one of the best players I've seen this year. He's just tough. He's tough to bring down, tough to tackle, stiff arms you. He's a tough cat. Then you got the Los Angeles Rams. What are they going to do? What's Jared Goff going to do? He's been struggling the past couple of weeks. Is he going to come out like he did in the beginning of the season, start throwing touchdowns left and right? Brandon Cooks, They got Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley catches a lot of passes. Or are we going to see the Los Angeles Rams that lost 26-13 to Atlanta last year? And when you look at that game from last year to this year, and you see how Atlanta is, not even make it to the playoffs, have a losing record, kind of looks embarrassing. So you got the Los Angeles Chargers, Phillip Rivers, the man who has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but has never gotten the respect because he never really wins in the playoffs. His teams often miss the playoffs, and he's always been surrounded by bad teams, bad defenses. He's always had to be in shootouts. But this year, now that he finally has a team, has Bosa, Ingram, they have a defense. Is he going to now take this team to the next level now that he has everything? Can he prove that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? Can he please get a ring? Because I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. I got New England. Tom Brady. The decline of an empire. What's going to happen? Is this the beginning of the decline? Or is he going to show everyone, nah, I still got it. I'm still here. My name's effing Tom Brady. And you respect it. Philadelphia, Nick Foles. Is the magic real? Are we all just too blind to see it? Am I too blind to see it? Does he really have the magic to take it all the way again? Can they make it to the Super Bowl again? Can they upset the New Orleans Saints? Can they play the underdog role that they played last year? And they rolled that thing. They rolled that underdog status. They rolled it all the way to the Super Bowl. Can they do it once again? I love the playoffs when the defending champion from the year before is still in and still trying to make it back to back. That makes it a lot more interesting. There's many years that the NFL playoffs, the Super Bowl champion from the year before doesn't even make the playoffs. It's the NFL. It's hard. You gotta be successful year in and year out. It's hard to do that in the NFL. So many things change. So many injuries happen. And finally, New Orleans Saints. Is Drew Brees ready to take him down to the Super Bowl again? He's done it before. He has weapons. Thomas, Ingram, Kamara. He has the weapons. He has a defense now. Same thing with San Diego Chargers. They got defenses to match their offenses. So what's going to happen? I can't wait. I cannot wait. I told you my predictions. I went 3-2 last week. 2-2 in the playoff games. If you include the national championship, remember I said pick Clemson plus 5.5. What an easy cover. Easy cover. Made some money last week. Actually, because of that, I bet the over in that game too. That over in the Clemson and Alabama game hit almost by halftime. Easy stuff. But my podcast is not going to be strictly sports. I have to bring up sports though. It's the playoffs. There's no way I'm not going to talk about the playoffs. So I'm going to be concluding my episode. Remember, it's also a business. It's also a podcast of business. We could talk about sports. We could talk about what's happening. Next week I want to touch the playoffs again, but I also want to talk about R. Kelly. Like, what the hell is going on with that man? I haven't seen the documentary. I didn't want to speak about it until I saw the documentary, but it's something that can't be ignored. And I think it happens too much in our culture. What they're accusing him of. Same thing with Kareem Hunt. I want to talk about life. This is a podcast of everything, and I can't wait to drop another one. I'm gonna try to drop it sooner so I could give people some time just in case they want to take the gambling advice and use Bovada or Vegas. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I'm also going to be posting this podcast on YouTube, so you can tell your friends or anyone, like, share, comment. It'll be on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.